What is up, gang? This is Seaboard 1321 coming at you with a rather unconventional video, not just a boring layout run by with dubbed in audio. Today we are going to go over Walthers and Rapido mystery boxes. Today's video is sponsored by Yuengling, America's oldest brewery. Please drink responsibly. So my wife is always bitching that she does not know what to get me for my birthday, for Christmas, anything like that, train related. She knows I do HO scale, and that's it. So when I told her about these mystery boxes, she got super excited and got me not one, not two, but 3 of them. So let's go ahead and talk about what you get with each box. Now you'll have to forgive me because I do not quite remember all the names of these boxes, but the one we're going to start with was the, want to say, roughly $300 price range Rapido box that comes with a locomotive, DC, no sound. Now this goes for both of them. I'm incredibly disappointed in the lack of freight car variety. I did not think it was going to be that great. I did not think it was going to be 3 of the same exact Great Depression era 40-foot wooden boxcars. Little bit disappointed. No, a lot of bit disappointed. And you also get this 40-foot Pennsylvania Railroad, some kind of TOFC trailer. Both of these boxes each came with a pair of these frosted Rapido whiskey glasses. Pretty neat. And of course, what everybody is most excited to see is this Erie Lackawanna Alco PA. Now this is not something I would never buy with my own money if you have any idea about what my channel is. But if I ever have a layout someday, a real one, I think one of the coolest things to model would be some type of museum within the layout. So in the back of my mind, I've always thought, like, yeah, one of these days I'll get some boomer era stuff similar to this to have for that museum. Well, look at that. Now I have it. Now I don't even need to spend my own money on it. Pretty cool. Very, very, very stylish locomotive. I think there's only, 2 left in existence that I can think of. Very cool locomotive. And now we come over to the Rapido mystery box that is basically the same, except a locomotive with DCC and sound. Once again, you get a pair of these whiskey glasses and off-the-chart variety with the freight cars here. Not again 1, but 2, 3 of the same exact, look at that, 2 duplicates, Boston and Maine. And same with here, a Northwestern and a Northwestern. 3 Great Depression era wooden boxcars. So cool. And then for whatever reason, this one came with 2 of these 40-foot trailers, one Great Northern, one Lehigh Valley. Now, I'll be honest, this is kind of cool. It's a DCC and Sound CSX YN2 C30-7, and this is the 1995 Plus version. I don't know what that means other than this model has ditch lights. Once again, nothing I would ever buy, but Chatty Daddy, whose layout I've gone to several times, I've seen, or I've posted videos of trains at Chad's, haven't been there in a little bit, due in part to work, and he's uprooted his entire original layout and is building a new one, and it is DCC only, so I only have a few locomotives I can take up there. I know he's doing early CSX, and he's already excited about this one. I will certainly be bringing this up there to run, and I will include it in a video. So that's it for the Walthers, and I've seen all over Facebook, people are disappointed and bummed they didn't get what they want, but that's kind of... that's kind of expected when you get what's called a mystery box. So, I'm not disappointed with that Erie Lackawanna unit. It's nothing I would ever buy, but it's neat to have. Again, with the CSX unit, probably nothing I would have bought, but I'll certainly enjoy it now that I do have it. So, it's a gamble. Do you want to spend $300 to $400 on stuff you don't know what you're getting? I mean, these freight cars are relatively useless other from that museum idea. Like I said, it's a gamble. So, if you got a little extra money, it's neat just to see what you get. However, now we're going to focus the rest of our attention on the Walthers box. I don't remember what they called this one. It was 400 something. Not only did it come with a decent amount of trains, it came with a lot of other stuff we can have fun with. So first of all, we're going to talk about the locomotive because that's what everybody wants to see. Once again, nothing I would ever buy with my own money. This is actually the first Walthers proto locomotive I've ever owned, and it actually seems pretty cool. A lot of detail, a lot of road-specific detail. We have a Southern Pacific FP7A. It's got the icicle breakers. It's got an M5 horn, all sorts of additional details. Actually seems like a pretty cool locomotive. And I'm excited to get power to it because I'm looking at the front here and we see at least 5 individual LEDs, and it makes me curious if the number boards and the class lights work. So again, I would never buy this. It would be a cool museum piece. I've always liked the slightly longer FP versions of these locomotives more. It's also got the reverse slide on it, which is a nice touch. Pretty cool locomotive. The retail on this was a little bit asinine. I have a difficult time believing it because this is a DC silent locomotive. I know proto stuff is a little bit more expensive. I've actually never paid attention to it, so that could be real, but I'm almost hoping that was a typo on the website. It said that this locomotive was like $356 or something completely ridiculous. We'll start with the freight cars. We got 3 different types of flat cars. We got a Sioux flat car, some TTX mark, and it looks like this is one that holds various containers, not intermodal containers, maybe like dirty dirt containers or something like that. I'll have to take this out and look at it more. And then what I thought was cool was an old trailer train repurposed bulkhead flat car. So we got 3 of these. We've got a DTSL caboose, the locomotive, of course. And we got 4 different auto racks of 2 different styles. The older shielded version, we've got a Santa Fe and a Southern Pacific. And then we've got some even older skeleton models, a Burlington car and a Frisco car. We got 3 of these mid-60 built TOFC flat cars, which I was a little bummed at first, and then I looked, and they were smart enough to give 3 different road numbers. So these will go in pretty well with my pre-1983 TPW train. And then last, for freight cars, we've got one of these old school container flats. Starting off with accessories, we've got 2 pieces by Chooch Enterprise. One is a stone wall arch kit. It comes with various keystones and arch angles for like culverts and whatnot. And then you've also got a static load for a freight car or a truck, I suppose. And moving on down to some of this little shit here, we got 2 IC flexi van trailers. This was actually busted open. I taped it back shut. There's a whole array of detail pieces in the back to glue on. And then we've got the mighty Grumman LLV, a UPS van, a farm wagon. We've got 3 intermodal containers, 2 40-footers. One is a refrigerated 1 can, and then there's a low cube China shipping container. And lastly is a 53-foot CN refrigerated container. This intrigued me a little bit. I want to do a little bit of research. Pre-1953 American flag and mailboxes. We've got a building mount billboard kit here, and now, the sticker slid over, but there was like 5 or 6 different advertisements you could choose from. Last but not least is this very complex looking piece of construction equipment. For what it is, that looks like it's quite a build. And now we're going to talk about my favorite part about the Walthers kit are all of these cool structures that you get. So we'll start down here. We've got this modern printing plant. And then we've got this steel warehouse building, which I'm actually already in the process of building. We've got the Union Station kit, an obvious Dollar General building. This is kind of neat. It's a building under construction, and I took it out, looked at it, and it's just a skeleton of I-beams. It's actually pretty cool. Did not know they made that. We've got a little downtown 2-story structure here, perfect Perk Cafe. And last but not least is this old lifelike church. So, actually, this was pretty fun. I had no idea what to expect, other than train stuff, obviously. Is this stuff I would have bought out of free will? Probably not. But I can use this garbage here for this museum that I want to eventually build. All of these older freight cars, these are useful on my 80s TPW train. Again, there's so many cars for that train I want to get. But whenever I have the money to buy trains, I usually don't focus on stuff like that. I like to get things I can patch. Same with these 2 cab locomotives. Super neat. I'll definitely be hanging on to these for the foreseeable future for that museum idea. They're both really cool. Obviously, huge fan of F units. And my house basically sits on top of the old Erie Lackawanna Main to Chicago. So kind of neat to have. And again, this Dash 7 is pretty cool. I'll be honest with you. It was kind of a gamble on the Rapido boxes. I'm not a humongous fan of the locomotives they make for the time being. I am looking forward to like the PSR LGB38, but I was really hoping in at least one of these boxes I was going to get some kind of Dash 7 because I've never had one in HO scale. So I do have some things I can run this with. I've got some custom HLCX units, but I don't even think I want to get rid of this. You know, it's a cool piece. So now is going to be the interesting part. We talk about, is it worth it? Like I said, for the lower tier Rapido box, I want to say it was somewhere in the $350 range. I can put in the description what everything costs just so I can be accurate here. But my wife and I looked up all product numbers of everything we got here on both the Rapido and the Walthers website, and we totaled them up to see if what you get is worth what you pay for. And we come down to, on the cheaper of the Rapido boxes, everything comes out to $450.75. On the DCC and sound box, which I thought was the only difference, however, one of these came with 2 trailers. That one came with 2 trailers. Other than the DCC and sound, this box came out to, again, retail on their site, $594.70. Now, the only thing we're guessing on here, these whiskey glasses, they do have some cups on the website, but they range from like $8 to $14. So I think we went somewhere on the low end of the middle, and we just counted them as $10 each. So that's the only thing that we're not 100% accurate on. So again, you've got $450, $594 for the 2 Rapido boxes. And for the Walthers box, which after tax was just over $500, totaling up all this stuff you get here on their website at retail comes out to $1,539.36. So I actually got over $1,000 worth of merchandise more than I paid for in getting this stuff. Pretty cool present from my wife, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting more. I hope this video helps you guys decide whether or not you think it's worth it. My opinion, hell yeah. Nothing I model, but it's going to be stuff I can have fun with. Thank you. Have fun, be safe.